Dear YouTube viewers, I am Vansworth Mackenzie. This video is called The Gentile People of Japheth, who became known as the European people of Europe, that was taken from Greek mythology of the word Europa, who have set themselves up on a high pinnacle of life and who see themselves as a white race of planet Earth. According to Genesis chapter 11, reading from verse 1, there it explained that the whole earth was of one language and one speech that came from Noah and his 3 sons and their wife after the flood of Noah. The scripture did not mention anything about a white race of people during the time of the people of Noah and his sons and their wife traveling from the east, that is now known as East Africa, or the east of what is now known as Asia, who had settled in the land of Shinar, that is now known as the Persian Gulf, where Nimrod had various kingdoms there. Even during the time when Nimrod and his companion was building the Tower of Babel to reach up to heaven, when Yahweh confused the language and scattered the people throughout the earth, there was no white race of people mentioned there in the scripture of truth. So this identity that the Gentile people of Europe have been teaching the world of people who came under their captivity of rulership to see them as a white race, it is a false identity and a lie, because there were no white race of people that Yahweh did make and put here on planet Earth. These Gentile people of Japheth have also been teaching us Hamite people, who they have taken as their captives and the world of people that came under their captivity, to see them as a white race of people, and that they are a superior people to us Hamite people. The way they see it, when Yahweh was making this earth, he only had them in mind. So all of the other people on planet Earth are foreigners of their Yahweh given earth that was made for them only. So they think. The way they see it, everyone else are an intruder into their Yahweh given earth that was made for them only. Without any prejudice in mind, because we are all the creation of Yahweh that he put here on planet Earth to enjoy his creation that came from Noah, his 3 sons and their wives, and also from Adam and Eve, who were the first human couple that Yahweh had made. I must say that if there are any people who are more superior than the other, it would have to be the darker skinned people of Ham. My reason for making this kind of statement is this: when it comes down to physical strength, the Hamite people of Ham are far stronger people, more than many of their cousins of Europe, even stronger than many of their Asiatic cousins of the people of Shem, of the East, who became known as the Asiatic people of today by the Gentile family of Europe, who had named these people as Asian. This was the reason why the Portuguese, Spanish, with other European countries of Europe, who had replaced the native slave of the Americas and the West Indies with that of the people of Ham, that they name as Negroes, black people, African people, and colored people. Because in the eyes of the Gentile people of Europe, they saw that the people of Ham were a stronger set of people, more than many of the native people of what became known as Asia, and who they had named as Indians, who they had in bondage of slavery, and who was dying off like flies because they could not cope with the pressure of slavery and the hard work they had to do, plus the ill treatment and the abusement that they had to go through. These native people of what became known as Indian of the Americas and the West Indies was various tribes of the Asiatic people who had crossed over from what became known as Greenland to what became known as Alaska of the Eskimos, who were Chinese Indian looking people who came down to what became known as the Americas and the West Indies of what is now known as the Caribbean by these same Gentile people of Europe. Also, many of the giant tribe of people that is mentioned in the Old Covenant part of the scripture were referring to the people of Ham, of what became known as the Middle East and what is now known as North Africa. They were the native of the land way before the coming of the children of Israel and the Ishmaelite people of Ishmael, who is now known as the Saudi Arabian people, came along with other Gentile people of Europe who are there today. Whether it was the Canaanite people that came from Canaan or from the other three sons of Ham who were the native of the land. This included the Philistine people who became known as the Philistine, who originally came from out of the Calushian family of Mizraim, that is known today as the Egyptian people, who were living in the Gaza Strip of what is now known as the Middle East of the land of Canaan by the Gentile people of Europe. Genesis chapter 10 and verse 13 and 14 clearly explain that the Philistine people that became known as the Philistine people was a tribe that came from out of the Calushian people of Mizraim, and Mizraim was the second son of Ham. There were many giant people of Ham that is mentioned in the book of Deuteronomy that Yahweh had destroyed because of the children of Israel and for the descendant of Esau, who was the brother of Jacob, who became known as the Edomite tribe of Esau, and also for other Abrahamic seed. Many of these Hamite tribe were also destroyed for the descendant of Lot, two sons that were known as the Moabites and the Ammonites. Furthermore, many dark-skinned people of Ham do not break out in sores and acne of the face as often as I've seen on many of the faces of the Gentile people of Europe and many other brown-skinned people that have a lot of the Gentile European man blood flowing through their veins. A dark-skinned Hamite person can stand the heat of the sun much more than our cousins of Europe and Asia, who have much light skin like that of many people of Europe, and who also have the European man blood flowing through their veins. This is the reason why Yahweh made us Hamite people with dark skin complexion to protect us from the heat ray of the sun that can cause a person to have skin cancer, peeling of the skin, along with sunburn of the skin. A darker skinned person do not change their complexion because of the heat of the sun, like I've seen with so many Gentile people of Europe who have changed their complexion because of the sun and other weather conditions. A dark-skinned Hamite person do not have to put on skin lotion whenever they come in contact with the heat ray of the sun, like I've seen with so many Gentile people of Europe have to do, because they are afraid of getting sunburn and peeling of the skin. I have even seen many Gentile European people with sores on their head, hands, and maybe other part of their bodies. From I had lived in the island of Jamaica until the age of 15 and went to live in London amongst many Hamite people from the Caribbean. I have never seen any Hamite people with sores all over their bodies like I've seen with many Gentile people of European background, whether it is in the United States or in Europe itself. Unless, of course, these Hamite people that have sores all over their bodies are suffering from some skin diseases. A good-looking dark-skinned Hamite woman without any false vein makeup is far a better looking woman to look at in comparison to many good-looking European women who is of a lighter shade of pink skin complexion with a lot of false vein makeup to make themselves look beautiful in this modern world of the people of Europe. My reason for making this kind of statement, it is this. A beautiful dark-skinned woman shows up her natural beauty much more than many beautiful European women do, without any form of false vein makeup, like what I've seen on the faces of many European women who use false makeup to make themselves look beautiful, as if to say that they were not made up properly by Yahweh when they came into this world, by his power and his might. So from their vain, corrupted mindset, they have invented these false makeup, thinking to themselves that these makeup that many European women put on their faces to make themselves look beautiful can change their appearance of beauty. But they are only deceiving themselves, because no one can add beauty to themselves. It's either they are beautiful or they're ugly or attractive. Sad to say that, as the saying goes, monkey see and monkey do, meaning that people always want to copy and follow after other people doing. Many of our Hamite women of today, especially those Hamite sisters who are living in what became known as the United States of America, who like to copy these false makeup they see these European women of the United States bring out as a part of their fashion to put on their faces and advertise on their television as a form of their makeup, fooling themselves that they are looking beautiful with these vain false makeup. I've even seen many of our Hamite sisters of the United States and elsewhere who put on these face makeup that make many of them look much uglier than they would normally look, thinking to themselves that they are looking beautiful with these vain makeup that I call as a war paint. Many of these Hamite sisters are so foolish in always trying to run away from themselves by buying blonde wigs, brunette wigs, and many of them even dye their black hair blonde, ginger, brunette, and red hair, just trying to run away from themselves in their foolish mindset, trying to look like a European woman of Europe. Many of our Hamite sisters are so foolish in their thinking that they are always trying to copy everything they see these European people bring out and advertise on their television to make money and to bring in more profits, such as putting on false eyelashes, false nails, false hair, as if to say that they were not born with these things when they came into this world, because these things are based upon making money from these foolish people who are always trying to run away from themselves. But as I've mentioned in my history book and in my videos, that many of our Hamite people are suffering from slavery, colonial mentality, and stupidity of always trying to run away from themselves and to look like the people of Europe. Because from the slavery colonial days, we as a people were taught to be ashamed of who we are. This is the reason why as soon as a Hamite man or a Hamite woman come into some form of wealth or some high position, right away they look for a European woman or a European man to be their wife or husband, and think to themselves they have it made. This would not be so with the people of Europe. They would look around their own neighborhood to find one of their own kind to marry to and to keep their wealth among their own family. Many Hamite people need to realize that the Indian and the Chinese people were also conquered, colonized, and enslaved by the people of Europe. But still, they are not trying to run away from themselves to look like many people of Europe. Even though the European culture do influence their minds and life of today in many ways. This is the reason why India and China are so great today, because they stick together to build up themselves, even though they were given more chances and opportunity to become more successful in comparison to many of us Hamite people, who they try their very best to keep down in many ways. Many of our Hamite people who are always trying to run away from themselves are living in a fool's paradise, and they need to wake up to the reality of life of who they are and stop running away from themselves and to accept themselves for who they are. Just take the elephant in the jungle of the land of Ham for example, and India. They stick together and look out for the dangers that might come their ways, whether it is from people or from other animals, even though they do not attend any European college or universities to get their degree of smarts, like many Hamite people who do and attend many of these colleges and universities, but who have no unity and love amongst themselves. But as the saying goes, that one fools make many more fools, and this is a case that have taken hold on the mind of many of our Hamite sisters and Hamite men of today, especially in what became known as the United States, because they are suffering from slavery colonial mentality of always trying to run away from themselves and to look like others. I would like to point out that many Hamite women have far better looking shape to look at, with a lot of curve that would catch the eyes of any man, in comparison to many European women who mostly has flat shape like most men. I've even seen many of the Gentile European fashion store windows, mannequins, female mannequins with similar shape and figures like that of many Hamite women. Many Hamite women that have children quite often still look very good to look at in comparison to many European women who has children and who start to age much faster than many Hamite women, and that is a fact. Even when a beautiful dark-skinned Hamite woman reaches the age of 60, she still looks beautiful to look at in comparison to that of many beautiful European women who start to wrinkle and age faster at age 40, more than that of many dark-skinned Hamite women do. They are my people of the world, with other dark-skinned people of Shem, who became known as Asian people, have a lot of Yahweh given qualities to be thankful for, that many European people of Japheth would wish they had many of these things within themselves. They are my people of the land of Ham, have a lot to give Yahweh thanks for, even though they do not know of it. But instead, they are always trying to run away from themselves, of who they are, and want to be like the people of Japheth, because they are suffering from slavery, colonial mentality, stupidity, and ignorance of not knowing who they are and where they're coming from. They are my people should be more appreciative of who they are, rather than always trying to run away from themselves to look like many people of Europe, that many Hamite people idolize and want to be a part of. It is a natural fact that the Gentile people of Europe is a far more wicked, violent, and warlike people who love to shed blood and make wars and to conquer other people and their lands to get the wealth from the land to become rich people, in comparison to that of their Hamite cousins, who are far more peace-loving people than that of many people of Europe. Many of the wars and world wars was started by the Gentile people of Japheth of Europe, fighting amongst themselves for colonial conquests and control of people and their lands to gain wealth, that many of the time lead into world wars, that many other people get caught up into their wars of greed to gain wealth and power. Because many people of the world are controlled by the Gentile people of Europe because of their conquest of the world of people and their lands. The people of Ham were given one of the richest land upon the face of the earth, a land that was full of gold, diamond, and other precious stone, along with oil and all sort of wild animal life to admire. But unfortunately, we the people of Ham have lost most of our rich inherited lands to various colonial conquerors that came up and raped the land of all its riches and its people. Because of the various prophecies that were spoken against the various Asian kingdoms of the people of Ham, that has been fulfilled already, and it have taken its toll on us as a people. They have taken many of the wealth of the land to enrich Europe and their overseas colonies, and are still holding on to some of our land, such as the place that the European people name as South Africa, and what they call as the Middle East of the land of Canaan, and left many Hamite people there biting the dust. Many Hamite people of the United States have a tendency of using the word by saying that it is because I'm a black person. This is the reason why I cannot get this job or this apartment, and this is the reason why I have been brutalized and harassed by the European police force system, feeling sorry for themselves of who they are. What many of these foolish Hamite people fail to realize and understand, that when they make this kind of statement, what they're actually saying is that the European people, who they call as the white people, are a better people than themselves, because they have a light shade of pink skin or red skin complexion, and they have all of the wealth of the world of today that they have stolen from us, their captive, along with other people of the world, and they are not harassed and oppressed as we are as a people of today. What many of my people fail to see and understand, that the European people love for us to keep on thinking this way, because this is what they have been doing from the days of slavery, and also to other people who came under their colonial slavery captivity, to see them as a superior people because of their conquests and the wealth of the world that they have stolen from other people, and have become rich and wealthy people of today, where many people have to go to them to look for employment, apartment, because they are in control of many of the lands of the world that they have stolen from the various people whom they have conquered. The way they see it, they want to keep us Hamite people down, to feel sorry of who we are. And this is the reason why they have brainwashed us and give us so many false names and identities for us to go by and to see ourselves as such. They used to treat many of the native the same way, who they gave various names and identity to, along with the people of India and many Chinese people who came under the captivity to see themselves as a lesser human being to themselves, the conquerors. Also, we as a people of today have to go to their court system to be sent to prison by them, and to pay them every fine for whatever reason they may bring against us to make money as their captive. What many of my people fail to understand, that the reason why Yahweh make us Hamite people with dark skin complexion, it is to protect us from the heat ray of the sun, so that we darker skinned people will not get sunburn, peeling off the skin, and cancer of the skin, because of the heat ray of the sun that do affect many people with lighter shade skin complexion. So this kind of saying that many Hamite people make against themselves, it is of slavery mentality and of stupidity, because this is what the European people have been teaching to us, their many captive, from the days of slavery, to see them as the white race of people of planet Earth. I must point out that the reason why the people of Europe can put so much pressure on many of us, their free slave captive people of today, it is because of the prophecy that is mentioned in Luke chapter 21 and verse 24 about the time of the Gentile reign or domination over the earth, until the time of the Gentile people powers come to its end. It will be just as how the power of Greece, the Romans, the Anglo-Saxon, and the Viking with other European warriors' power came to their end. These European powers of today will also come to their end eventually, because the prophecy of the scripture cannot lie, and it will surely come to pass, because it is the word and power of Yahweh. I would also like to let this fact to be known, that the lighter-skinned people who see themselves as a white race of people come from out of the darker-skinned people, and also out of the brown-skinned people, who in turn came from out of the darker-skinned people. And this is a fact of life, whether one like it or not. The only difference is that they, the European people, are in control of the world affair of today. And many times they make life become very hard and difficult for other people who come under their captivity of rulership to live and to survive in their established societies of the world, because they want to keep many of us their captive down. Many people would want to be identified with the people of Japheth because they are in control of the wealth of the world, and many people have to go to them to look for employment, to survive, and to put food on their tables, to live and to exist in their system that they have established through slavery and colonialism. According to the Webster Third International Dictionary, the word white that pertaining to the people of Europe come from the dialect of the English and Saxon people that was spelled as H-W-I-T, that later came down into Middle English as white. This word white was also taken from the Goth dialect of Germany, that was also taken from the Sanskrit writing that came from Persia, that is known today as Iran. The dictionary explained that when the word white applied to a human being, it related to a light pigmentation of skin, hair, and eyes with light complexion that is also called as blonde. And this word blonde was taken from the word albino or albino, that was taken from the Latin word that is spelled as A-L-B-U-S, albus. According to the Webster Collegiate Dictionary, page 25, the European people of Japheth have been deceiving the world of people who came under their captivity to see them as a white race of people, when in reality there was no such a white race of people that is mentioned in the writing of the scripture of truth that bear record of all the people who are on planet Earth of today. To give one a good example of how the European family of Japheth have been deceiving the world of people who came under their captivity with false teaching and lies, to see them as a white people. According to the Webster Collegiate Dictionary, page 1149, they mention that a white person is of a Caucasian race of Europe. This statement that the dictionary gives is totally a false definition and a false statement, because there are no white race of people of planet Earth of Europe. As I have mentioned before, that all people that on the planet Earth of today came from Noah and his 3 sons and their wife, and the scripture did not mention anything about any white race of people during the time of Noah and his 3 sons and their wife. The people of Europe can easily deceive many people of today because they write the dictionary, the encyclopedias, and they control the school system that many people go to these places to be educated by them, to get a good paying job in their system of today that they have established through colonialism and slavery. This is the reason why in the school system of the United States They have what is called the curriculum. And if the teacher knows different from what is written in the curriculum, they cannot teach it because it would be going against the system that was established for the teacher to teach what is written in the curriculum. According to the Webster Collegiate Dictionary, the word curriculum is a Latin word that means running a race or a course. In the French dialect that came from the Latin, the word curriculum is known to them as carré. That means to run a course of study as in a college, in the way they had set up things to be. So the meaning I got from the word curriculum is to run things along the way of their false teaching and lies, to deceive their many captive people who go to their school system to be educated by them and to see themselves as educated people of their system and to be able to get a good paying job. The first place in the scripture where the word snow is mentioned that is very close to the meaning of the word white is found in Exodus chapter 4 verse 6 to verse 7. And this word is not speaking about any white race of people, because there are no people known as the white race of people in the scripture of truth. At Exodus chapter 4 and verse 6, there Yahweh said to Moses that he must put his hand into his bosom. And when Moses put his hand in his bosom, and when he take out his hand from his bosom, his hand became leprous as white as snow. Verse 7 of Exodus chapter 4, there the scripture went on to say, and Yahweh told Moses to put back his hand into his bosom again. And when he did so, and when he take out his hand from his bosom, it became back to his original color as it was before. His hand became leprous as white as snow. So from the scripture that is mentioned, one can see that apart from the word righteousness that is mentioned in the scripture as white and clean and pure, that stands for a person's lifestyle that is clean and righteous before Yahweh. The word white in the scripture also means leprosy, which means a sore or a raw flesh that affect a person in their life by way of diseases of the body. The word righteousness that is mentioned in the scripture mean right doing to please Yahweh in our day-to-day life, while he allows us to keep on living here on earth. To show further that the word white means leprosy, in the book of Leviticus chapter 13 starting from verse 1, there Yahweh said to Moses and Aaron his brother, that when a man shall have in the skin of his flesh a rising or a bright spot, and it be in his skin of his flesh, like the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons that are the position of the priest. The priest shall look on the plague in the skin of his flesh, and when the ear that is in the skin has turned white, and the plague inside is deeper than the skin, and the ear is not turned white, then the priest shall shut up him that had the plague for 7 days more. Verse 5 went on to say that the priest shall look on him again after the 7 days are fulfilled. And behold, if the plague in the sight of the priest stays and spread not in the skin, then the priest shall have him that have the sign of the plague to be shut up for 7 days more. Verse 6 went on to say that the priest shall look on him again after the 7 days are expired. And behold, if the plague be somewhat dark in his skin, and the plague spread no further in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean, for it's a sign of leprosy. Verse 9 went on to say, verse 9 and 10 went on to say that when the plague of leprosy is in a man, then he shall be brought back to the priest again. And when the priest see him, and behold, if the rising be white in his skin of his flesh, and if the hair turn white, and there be no sign of raw flesh in the rising of his scab, it is leprosy. Verse 11 of the same chapter went on to say that the priest shall pronounce him unclean, and he shall not be shut up, for he is unclean. Verse 12 and verse 13 went on to say that if a leprosy break out abroad and cover all over his skin, who have the plague from his head even to his foot, wheresoever the priest look upon him that have the plague, and all of his flesh is turned white, he is clean. Verse 14 went on to say, but when any raw flesh appear in him that has the plague, the priest shall see the raw flesh and pronounce him unclean, because it is leprosy. Verse 16 went on to say, but if the raw flesh turn again and be changed into white, then he shall come to the priest, and the priest shall see him, and behold, if the plague be turned into white, then the priest shall pronounce him clean, that have the plague, he is clean. So again, the word white in a man's skin is talking about leprosy of raw flesh that is turned into white, or a scab of a sore in a person's flesh. Also, Numbers chapter 12 and verse 10. There the scripture spoke about Moses' sister, whose name was known as Miriam. She became leprous as white as snow, because she and Aaron spoke against Moses, and Yahweh was not pleased of their saying against him. Also at 2 Kings chapter 5, starting from verse 1 to verse 27, there the scripture explained that Naaman, who was from the land of Zidon that became known as the country of Syria by the conquest of the Greek people of Greece, he had the plague of leprosy. So Naaman, who may have been a Greek descendant who were living in the land of Zidon, was sent by his master the king to the king of Israel to be healed by him of his leprosy. The king of Israel in turn sent Naaman to Elisha the prophet, who was a servant of the prophet Elijah, to be healed by him. Elisha became the prophet when Elijah was taken up to heaven, according to 2 Kings chapter 2, starting from verse 9 to verse 14. Naaman was sent by Elisha the prophet to go and bathe in the river Jordan, and he would be healed of his leprosy. And when Naaman was healed of his leprosy, he took present to give to Elisha, but Elisha would not take the present. The servant of Elisha became greedy and went after Naaman to receive the present that he was going to give to Elisha, his master. When the servant of Elisha went back to his master Elisha, Elisha told him that the leprosy of Naaman shall stick to him and his seed forever, which means his descendants, and he became white as snow. So again, one can see that the word white in the scripture means righteousness, pure, clean, and also leprosy. And there is no man on the face of the earth that is pure, clean, and righteous, or white, that come from the word leprosy of disease of the body. So in reality, all the people who see themselves as white people, a white race, are a cursed people that come from the word leprosy, because all people who are of a lighter shade of skin complexion come from the darker skinned people. I would also like to let this fact to be known, that all the brown skinned people come from out of the darker skinned people, and all of the lighter skinned people that are lighter than the brown skinned people come from out of the brown skinned people, who in turn came from out of the darker skinned people. When these brown skinned people have children with other person who is of a lighter shade complexion than that of themselves, then the eyes texture or the eyes color of the eyes begin to change, and the ear texture starts to change as well. When these children of these people grow up and marry and have children with a person who is of a lighter shade of skin complexion than themselves, right away the eye textures change from brown to light brown, and sometimes to light greenish, and even to blue eyes as the washing out or the melting out process continue. As the melting out process continue, the ear texture start to get curlier, straighter, or even with wavy curly ear that will get straighter eventually. Eventually, these people turn into full-blooded European people as the melting out process continue. The ear gets straighter, and some of these people develop blue or brown eyes, and I have even seen many European people with blonde curly ear, ginger curly ear, and even with dark brown curly ear that gets straighter as the washing out process continues. I would like to let this fact to be known, that there are only one set of people on planet Earth that have tight curly ear or loose curly ear, or wavy that will eventually get straighter or just stay curly and wavy as the washing out trend continue. And these people come from the people of Ham. There's also a known fact to some people of the world of today that a dark-skinned male and female person can bring about an albino child into this world that look very similar in skin color to that of most people of Europe. Sometimes these albino people even look more lighter in skin color than many people of Europe who see themselves as a white race of people, as they have been teaching to their many captives to see them as such. However, no two light brown skinned people or any European male or female person cannot bring about a dark skinned child into this world. It will never happen, because that is not the way Yahweh made things to be. He made it that the darker skinned people bring forth the lighter skinned people, and not the lighter skinned people bring forth the darker skinned people. And the proof of this true story is down below in the video that I'm now making for people to see. I do know that it is very hard in this world of today for a person to erase all the lies and false history that the European family of people have been teaching to their many captive people who came under their control slavery system to see them as a white race of people of planet Earth. But many people will eventually come to the reality of truth, of that there's lies and false history that have been taught to many of us for us to carry on and to see things their way. Thank you, YouTube, for allowing me to bring this video out to bring enlightenment and to educate some people to the truth, because some people may not like to hear this truth, but the truth have to be told whether one like it or not, and that's the reality. Thank you.